Hey everyone, welcome back to Broward-MIAMI, a leading real estate podcast in Broward County. Now this episode is a conversation between 2025 Broward-MIAMI President Larry Singh and Broward County Property Appraiser Marty Kiar. Larry and Marty talk about fluctuating property values and how they are impacting taxes for local residents. Marty discusses title fraud and why he is so passionate about catching the bad guys, and all the new programs he's put into place. They also talk about the best advice for new homeowners. Marty's office has important brochures on homestead exemptions and more. Don't miss this episode. Whether you're driving, walking, running, at the gym, cooking, whatever you're up to, thank you for the time and thank you for listening to the official Broward-MIAMI podcast.
Hello, everybody. My name is Larry Singh, your 2025 Broward-MIAMI president, and welcome to the Broward-MIAMI Insider. We are here today with somebody that's really dear to my heart, somebody that I started my career with, and somebody that I call a personal friend. Our property appraiser for Broward County, Marty Kiar.
Well, thank you so much, Larry. I really appreciate you having me on today. And I just want to thank everybody out there for the great work that you do. You know, I love our realtor community because realtors are really our office's window to the world. I cannot tell you the amount of people we get to help solely because their realtor sends them our way, whether it's for a homestead exemption, another exemption, portability, owner alert. It's really awesome. And I do have to say, Larry is a person we worked together for a long time. We've known each other for a long time. He's a dear friend and honestly just one of the best dudes I know. And so thank you so much, Larry, for having me on today.
Well, thank you for being here today with us. So I'm going to get killed if I don't ask you this question, right? Mm-hmm. And this goes out to all of our people that live in Broward County, just so they have a better understanding. Mm-hmm. With property values fluctuating the way that they have been over the last few years, yes, how does that really affect their property taxes?
That is such a fantastic question. And the answer is it depends. And I'll tell you why it depends, and I can kind of generally answer it. So what I've learned about being the Broward County Property Appraiser is every single property is different. And what may work for one may not work for another based on the law and the facts, and also what their specific circumstances are. But generally, here's how it works. The date that we determine the value of properties is on January 1st of every single year. And if it's property that you've owned, basically it's not one you just sold, it's your existingly owned property. The way we determine a market value for that property is based on what the sales were prior to that January 1st. So if there are comparable sales that are similar to your property, that's how we would determine a market value for it. But your market value may not be the value you're actually taxed on. And that's because under Florida law and under the Florida Constitution, there are lots of protections that actually give people the opportunity to have a lower tax burden. And here's how it works. When you buy your home, you file for homestead if it's your primary residence. And when you do that, a very important clause in the Florida Constitution kicks into effect called the Save Our Homes Assessment Clause that basically says that every year thereafter, the value you're taxed on can't go up more than 3%. So here's what occurs. Over time, your market value gets much, much higher based on those sales. And over the past number of years, your market value has gotten a lot higher, especially since after COVID, when people really started coming into our county and paying top dollar for properties. But if you were an existing homesteaded property owner, the value you're taxed on couldn't go up more than 3%. So many people, even though their market values have skyrocketed, their taxable value is still very, very low because of that very important cap. We have about 400,000 Broward County property owners in Broward County that have a homestead exemption, a little bit more. And what I always try to tell everybody, if you haven't filed for homestead exemption, please do so, because it'll make sure the value you're taxed on won't go up more than 3% and your taxable value won't skyrocket with your market value. Once you get that, there are so many other exemptions that can save you money. You have portability. You have lots of ways to keep your tax burden low. Now, I will say this. The people that tend to get hit the hardest, though, by big increases in property taxes are not the long-term homeowners that have the homestead exemption. It's new first-time homeowners. And you see this a lot in your business. Somebody's never owned a home before. They buy a property. The first year they own the property, they didn't own it on January 1st, so they pay the taxes of the previous owner. But then they own the property on the next January 1st, and we have to reset it to market value based on usually their purchase price. And that can really make their taxes go up very, very high. And so what I always say to those folks, people that are first-time time homeowners that really see that big tax increase, give me a call by September 17th of this year. Let me go through your property with you, because maybe there's other data that can give me the opportunity to bring down your assessed value and your market value, which could bring down your property taxes. That's my long-winded answer. I hope that helps.
It does. So here's the thing. We spent a little bit of time with your answer with the homesteaded property, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that really is to benefit long-term homeownership, correct?
It is. So the people of the state of Florida amended the Constitution a long time ago to put in the Save Our Homes Assessment Clause, which is triggered by the homestead exemption. And it is meant to make sure that after you buy a home and after you file for homestead, that you won't suffer drastic increases in your property taxes. And it's a really great thing. And it does benefit longtime homeowners, but it benefits all homeowners, because the other thing the homestead exemption does as well, it also takes $50,000 of value off the tax roll at the beginning that can save you in your property taxes. There are so many other ways to save, but it does help. And here's what I like to tell people. When you move into your property, and let's say it's your first time buying that property, your taxes are probably going to be much, much higher than your neighbor with an identical property who's been homesteaded for a long time. And you may be a little bit frustrated at that time. I know I was in 2016 when I moved into my home, and my taxes were way higher than my neighbor. But one day, your neighbor is going to sell their property, and somebody's going to buy their property, and your tax is going to be way lower than that new homeowner. So it really does help you going forward. It's very, very important. The Save Our Homes assessment cap saves you a lot of money in the long run.
So what happens if, and we spent a lot of time, if you're a Florida resident and that you live here and that's your homesteaded property, but what happens if you're not?
So if you're not a homesteaded property owner, let's say it's your second home, or let's say you have property that's your business property, or where I'm in right now, this property is not a not-for-profit property. It's a business property owned by the realtors. And so here's the protection that you have under Florida law. You have what's called the 10% cap. So basically, if you have non-homestead property, so all property that's not exempt property, that's not homesteaded property, but that's for-profit property, is subject to the 10% cap, which basically means the value you're taxed on cannot go up more than 10% a year, except for the school portion of the tax bill that has no cap. So that can actually save properties a whole lot of money, especially in the long run as well. The 10% cap is very, very important.
So we just got a masterclass in tax assessment and how your taxes are going to be derived for you. And I appreciate that, because a lot of the people that we work with as realtors are not only just homeowners, but they're out-of-town buyers, they're out-of-state buyers, they're out-of-country buyers that come here because they see the appeal of Broward County. Yes. And this is, I think, is some of the most important information for us to know, because it affects these properties in perpetuity, right?
Yes.
So as long as you own these properties, this is information that really should be known by everybody that owns a property or is looking to own a property.
Yes.
In my opinion, that is.
Absolutely.
But let's not digress any further. There's a reason that I brought you here for this interview today, and it's for one specific topic. And the specific topic that I'm talking about is what you have implemented in Broward County, and it's a program called Owner Alert. If you could give us a little bit of a background on Owner Alert.
Such a great question. And Larry, thank you so much for asking me about this. I have to tell you, South Florida is the title fraud capital of the world. It's the capital of the world because you have criminals, and that's what they are. And what they do is they walk into the recording divisions of every county every single day in the state of Florida. They file fake deeds on people's properties, and they take those deeds and they extort people for money, or they mortgage, rent, or sell the property. They do it all the time. And the reason it's so easy for them is the recording division for every county has a ministerial duty. They have to accept whatever documents filed with them. So you have these criminals, they walk in, they file a fake deed, and they do something nefarious with it. So the first thing we wanted to do was give the people of Broward County the opportunity to fight the fraud before the fraud occurs. So about 4 years ago, we came up with a great, free, awesome program to the public that notifies people if there's been a title change to their property. And here's how anybody can sign up. If they go to our website at bcpa.net or web.bcpa.net, which is our mobile-friendly website, they click on Owner Alert, they type in their name, they type in their parcel ID number, and they type in their email address. And if we have their email address on file, they're automatically verified. If we don't, they have to upload their Florida driver's license or Florida ID. If they don't have that, they have to upload a utility bill or something proving ownership. And then if any document, legitimate or not, is filed changing ownership, they'll be notified instantaneously so they can make sure that somebody can't steal their property, cloud their title, and do something very bad to them. And something that's very important to note, we've had 300,000 Broward County property owners signed up so far. And the reason we've been so successful is because the realtor community has been such a great partner with us. I cannot tell you the amount of people that have signed up for our owner alert program solely because their realtor sent them our way. And another important note about our owner alert program is the legislature passed a fantastic law. It was sponsored by Representative Christine Hunchofsky, one of our Broward County state representatives. She's actually your state representative in Parkland. And here's what it did. It basically said that all the information we collect for our owner alert program, your phone number, your email, even the fact that you signed up, it exempted it from public disclosure so nobody can get that information, and it can only be used for one purpose and one purpose only. That's notifying you of a title change to their property. And Larry, if it's okay, may I talk about our crimes against property team?
Yeah, absolutely.
And when I started this program, I started getting phone calls and emails from residents. And they would say, Marty, I just got an alert from your office that somebody changed the title to my property and I didn't do it. And then I got more and more and more. And I realized how big of a deal it was. So I came up with a different idea. I wanted to work with law enforcement, build criminal cases, and put the people in jail who are doing this. So I got the approval from the Department of Revenue, which oversees the property appraisers, to be able to start my crimes against property team. I then went to the county commission, which agreed to fund my crimes against property team. I then went to see my friend Sheriff Tony, and I go, Sheriff Tony, I'm very excited. I have this new program in my office, my crimes against property team, but I have a big problem. I'm not law enforcement, you are. I can't issue probable cause affidavits, search warrants. I can't arrest people, you can. Can we work together? And Sheriff Tony said, absolutely, Marty. And he actually assigned 3 sheriff's detectives to work in our office so we can actually do the job of law enforcement. I then went to see my other friend, Harold Pryor, a state attorney, who's the chief prosecutor of Broward County. And I go, Harold, I'm very excited. The sheriff and I, we're working together. We're going to build these criminal cases. And if you think there are cases that are prosecutorial, would you prosecute the people that we bring to you? And he said, absolutely. And he assigned an assistant state attorney to work with our office to prosecute the people that we bring to him. And over the past few years now that we've been in existence, we've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of individual criminal investigations. We've had numerous arrests, numerous convictions, and we've been able to work with the court system to get property back to people in a much more expeditious and cost-efficient manner. And I love talking about this. I have so many stories I could actually get into, but the one thing that I really want everybody to know is if anybody out there is a realtor and you get contacted by somebody that is trying to take advantage of you or your client or is trying to fraud somebody out of their property, let us know. We'll open up an investigation. We'll take the bad guy off the street. We'll prosecute him. We'll put them in jail for a long time.
So, Marty, this seems like it's something that's near and dear to you, right?
It is. I'm very passionate.
And you're very passionate about it. And I'm very excited to actually be here with you talking about this because people don't understand that this kind of fraud has adverse impacts to home ownership, to everything. Because imagine you coming into a property that you've owned for the last 10 years, and then somebody tells you that you no longer own it.
Yes.
Right? Where does that leave you? And now all the work and time that you put into that house, now you have to fight to prove that you're the owner of that property. So this, I think, is a very, very important thing that we have going on in Broward County. And I think that with all the fraud that's rampant throughout South Florida, unfortunately, these things need to be in place to help protect not just the homeowners, but everybody.
Absolutely.
And let me ask you a question. What stemmed this? Because it seems like you're very passionate about it. So what stemmed all this? Why did you get behind this so much?
Thank you, Larry. And that's such a great question that you asked. So, many of us have known about title fraud for some time. I really started to learn about it, though, when I was elected in 2017. And I would get phone calls from residents who were victims of it. And people would also say to me, Marty, somebody stole my house. They took out a fake mortgage. I called the police, and the police said it was a civil matter. Go call a lawyer. And that happened a lot. And then I started learning more and more and more about it. And it wasn't until I really started my owner alert program that I realized how many people were actually being taken advantage of in Broward County. And that's when I came up with the idea of the Crimes Against Property team. But this is where I have to give a big shout out to both my friends, Sheriff Tony and State Attorney Harold Pryor. Because I just mentioned that previously, prior to them, people would basically say, oh, that's a civil matter, go call a lawyer, we're not going to open up an investigation. Well, fortunately, Sheriff Tony and Harold Pryor take this very, very seriously. They know how big of a crime it is and how it just hurts people and hurts our most vulnerable people. And so they've been the greatest partners. And because of their partnership with our office, we've been so successful in doing it. And Larry, may I give a couple examples?
That was actually my next question to you.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, what's a real scenario that you've seen that this has actually helped the public protect themselves?
Absolutely. So I'll give you a few examples. One person was actually caught through our owner alert program. His name, I'll give you his first name. His name is Junior. He's now in prison. Here's what Junior did. Junior decided to steal a senior's home in Tamarack. He filed a fake deed on the home. He took out a mortgage on the home. He did all kinds of very, very bad things. He actually went to trial. We arrested him. He went to trial. A jury found him guilty. After he was found guilty, he was given 15 years in prison. But it was very easy for him to steal that property. All people have to do is walk into the recording division and file a fake deed. You can even have a courier file a fake deed. We had somebody who was on death row in Georgia file a fake deed on a property in Broward County. We did not prosecute him because he had other issues going on in Georgia, but that's how easy it is. But let me give you a few examples of some of the people that did this on large scales in Broward County that we prosecuted and served time in prison. The first one I'd like to talk about involved two wives. It was a married couple. One of the wives worked for one of our hospital districts. The other wife worked in the real estate industry. The wife that worked in the hospital district would find out when people would pass on. She would then take their confidential information, including their social security numbers, and give it to her wife in the real estate industry, who would find if they had property in Broward County and heirs here. If they had property and no heirs, they'd file fake deeds on the properties. They'd sell the properties on Zillow. They'd mortgage the properties. They'd rent the properties. They profited in the amount of millions of dollars, we believe. Fortunately, they were both found guilty in both federal and state court, and they spent time in different prisons, which I think is a great thing.
That's scary, Marty.
It is.
That's really scary.
It is.
To know that you can't even go to the hospital and think that something like this is going to happen. How can so you said that we get email alerts if there's somebody that's trying to file a false deed on the property after you sign up for owner alerts. Let's take a step back and answer this one question. How easy is it for somebody to sign up for owner alert? Just the sign up process. And then I have a follow-up question after that.
And that's such a great question. I appreciate that, Larry. And honestly, I'm so glad you asked that, because I've actually never spoken about that. And it's something really important to bring up. Signing up for our owner alert process is so easy. To give you an idea, when Channel 10 decided to do a story on it, the reporter signed up in about 2 minutes. That's how fast it is. All you have to do is just go on our website at bcpa.net, click on owner alert. It'll walk you right through the process, and you are signed up. And then if any document, legitimate or not, is filed changing ownership, you can get a text message, an email, and a hard copy in the mail. And here's why it's so important. You all are in the real estate community. You know it can take a long time for a title to be clouded. So what occurs is, once a criminal files a fake deed, they then have to do something very bad with that deed. They have to go take out a mortgage. They have to rent out the property. They have to start clouding your title and do something to it to where it makes it very difficult for you to unravel it. But our owner alert program is fantastic, because if you're notified pretty much right when they file that fake deed, you can take the steps that you need to do in order to make sure somebody can't steal your property, cloud your title, and it gives our office the opportunity to be able to open up a criminal investigation and take the bad person off the street.
So what happens if I miss the alert, right? Let's say I sign up for owner alert and I miss the alert. What happens then? Does it keep alerting me? I'm not really sure on how the process goes.
That's such a great question. So you actually only do get one alert. But you can get the alert in multiple forms, especially when it comes to a text message. We found that, so our owner alert program started with an email alert. And you know what? That was very effective, but not everybody checks their email every day. Right. But we found that a text message alert goes a very long way. It goes right to your phone. You know you signed up. You know it's from our office. And people get that, and they generally don't miss that. And then you'll also can get a hard copy in the mail, so you can see it that way as well. So you're alerted in a few different ways. But if you get the alert and you don't respond to it, it definitely gives the bad person that stole your property the opportunity to now do something very nefarious with their fake deed, and they will. If somebody's going to take the time to go down to the public records and file a fake deed, they're doing that for a specific reason. They're probably going to walk into a mortgage company somewhere in Broward County and take out a mortgage. They're probably going to wait for you to go on vacation so they can break into your home, change the locks, and rent out your property.
So you mean they're not going to do that and then put a pool in my house or change the windows or do anything to improve it? They're going to take advantage of it. But I like the scenario that you said, that, you know, it's going to give you a text message, it's going to give you an email. Because at that point where your program is doing everything it can to alert you for it, it does still put a little bit of onus on the homeowner to be responsible for their property, right? Which I think is a very important point for us to make, because it is your property and you still do have to have some ownership of protecting it.
Of course. I mean, most people are like me. Your property is by far your most valuable and important asset. And knowing somebody can so easily steal it and hurt you and your family is really concerning. That's why our owner alert program is so important. It helps give the tools so people can be alerted if somebody is trying to do something bad to their property, and it gives them the opportunity to be able to take the steps that they need to take so that somebody can't steal their property and hurt their family. And let me just give you another example. You have people in our community, and they call themselves sovereign citizens. There are people, for example, that don't believe that the government is their government. They believe that they should not have to answer to anybody. And you can have a sovereign citizen. What they'll do is they'll follow you on Facebook. They'll see when you're gone. They'll file a fake deed on the property saying that your property is now theirs. They'll then break into your property and they'll start living there. And it is a incredible scenario when that occurs. So it's just very, very important that everybody signs up for our owner alert program. And as I said this before, realtors are our biggest window to the world. If you could please let your clients know about it as well. It's very easy to sign up. It's free to the public, and would love for you all to get the word out there for us.
Remember, this is an added security that's free to everybody.
Yes.
We're not charging for it. We're not doing any of those things. This is something that you've created that's free to everybody that has home ownership. And it's so important for people to understand that with that being in place, it gives you another layer of protection.
Yes.
So let me ask you a question. So how does owner alert work in the background, right? Is it like a watchdog where it shows you, every single time somebody files something on your property? Is it more like a high-tech program that kind of scrubs through everything? How does it actually work?
That's such a great question. So for me, I can really only talk about the generalities of it. In our office, we have a very, very smart IT department. And all I really said to our director, Brian Allen, who I think one day this guy's going to get a huge job at Google or something. He is pretty awesome. All I said was, Brian, I'm so concerned. People are being taken advantage of. I want to alert them. What can we do? And he came up with a program. He could really talk specifically about it. But what I do know, though, is the program works very, very well. We've sent out, oh my gosh, maybe 70, 80,000 alerts just in the couple of years alone, because you get an alert whether it's a legitimate title change or not a legitimate title change. And it just works very, very well.
So what's the process if somebody gets alerted that there's fraud, right? I know you went into the partnership that you have with BSO, right? And how that is working in conjunction with each other, which is a great thing. But what if there's a disagreement about who owns the property? How does the property appraiser get involved with that, and how do they rectify that?
Such a great question, and it always depends on the actual situation and scenario. So it always depends on the actual scenario of the actual case. Some cases are definitely fraudulent, some are not. And the good thing for our office is when somebody gets alerted and we get called, we have some very, very smart investigators. All the people in our office that are not law enforcement are former law enforcement that work in this department with significant investigatory experience. We also, of course, have the 3 BSO detectives. We have 2 Fort Lauderdale Department of Law Enforcement detectives, a City of Fort Lauderdale detective, a Town and Navy Reserve detective. We have analysts and others that go through every single potential case. And if it's a criminal case, they're going to know, and they're going to pursue it. If it's not, they'll let the homeowner know that, hey, this doesn't appear to be a criminal case. It's more of a property dispute or disagreement, and they kind of give them guidance as to what they should do.
So Marty, let me ask you a question. What would you suggest that a homeowner do if they just bought a property? So let's take it from 2 scenarios. What would you suggest that the realtors suggest to their buyers or sellers, right? And what would you suggest that the property owners now do?
Such a great question, and there's a whole lot that a realtor can do in order to help somebody in a number of ways when it comes to working with our office and making sure, one, they get all the exemptions they're entitled to and protect their property. So what we do in our office is we actually have lots of brochures. And those brochures, we've created for realtors to be able to give to their clients. And what we try to do is every realtor office in Broward County that will they'll allow us, we'll drop off boxes of those brochures free to that office so they can actually give to their clients information after they buy a property. It'll show them how to sign up for a homestead exemption. It'll show them all the other exemptions that are available. It'll talk about portability. It'll also talk about owner alert and how to sign up. And it's almost like a very easy one-stop brochure where people can just go through it and be done with it within the span of probably 30 minutes. It's really great. It does a whole lot for people. And that's really the best way for realtors to help us, is just really informing your client of all that's available to them through our office.
So would you suggest that the realtors take those brochures and give it to their clients at closing?
Oh, sure. I would love for them to give to their clients at closing. As a matter of fact, a lot of realtors do that. You give them this big packet and they include that in there. Sometimes they'll also have it at their front desk and people will come in. Maybe they didn't even buy a property. They'll still give it to them. I can tell you, we've helped thousands and thousands of people solely because realtors send them our way. And you know what? And what I found as well, you all are in a business where you get to know your clients very well and you care about them. And you want to make sure that whoever buys a home from you is really happy with their purchase. And you want to make sure they get all the benefits that they're entitled to. And I've found that realtors really do love giving their clients information about this, because when you can say, hey, if you just sign up for homestead exemption, you're going to save this amount of money. If you sign up for owner alert, you're going to be able to be protected with your property. If you're a 100% disabled veteran, if you file this document, you won't even have property taxes. There's so much that you can do to help your client. Yep. And we just want to continue to be a great partnership with all of our real estate community, because I'm going to tell you, I said this before when we came in. Every time I run for re-election, the news media always asks a very important question. And they always say, Marty, what do you regret from your last term? Well, here's my answer every single time. This job is such a fantastic job because you're given the ability to help people. You can do so much for people, and we get to help thousands and thousands of people. But there's always people that we can help that we can't reach. And my regret every single time is that there are people out there that I could have helped that I couldn't find. But there would be much more regret if it wasn't for the realtor community, because I can tell you, we literally help thousands and thousands of people solely because realtors and mortgage brokers and title agents and lawyers who are involved in closings just send their clients our way. That gives us the opportunity to do our job much, much better, and really gives your clients the opportunity to be able to take all the advantages that they're entitled to under Florida law.
So let's just get back to the owner alert for a second, right? So let's say I get an alert. Is it going to give me the next steps that I have to take? What should I do if I get an alert?
Such a great question. So if you get an alert from your property, whether it's a legitimate title change or not, if it's legitimate, you're good. If it's not, you didn't make that title change, you didn't sell your property, you didn't do that, you didn't file that deed, the alert's going to really give you exactly what you need to do to protect yourself. In there it's going to say, call our office. And if we know that it's a fraudulent alert, we may be able to not have to change the information about the ownership of the property. If also it lets you call your mortgage company, it gives our crimes against property team the opportunity to open up an investigation and to try to arrest the bad person. There's all kinds of steps in there that you'll be able to tell you to take, so you can protect your property so somebody doesn't steal it, they don't cloud your title, and you're going to be good to go.
So before we wrap up, there's one question I want to ask you. What do you want to tell everybody, not just specifically about owner alert, but about the property appraiser's office in general, right? I was there for a very long time, and I started my career there, and I think that that's what has helped me be so successful in real estate overall. And I thank you for allowing me to be there for as long as I was. But my question to you is, there has been so much that the property appraiser's office has done over the years, and how it impacts the constituents of Broward County on a day-to-day that they don't even know about. So if you could tell everybody in Broward County one message that owns properties, what would it be?
And I appreciate that so much. And I'll tell you, I really missed Larry when he decided to go into the private sector. I was very happy for him, but we missed him. What was a loss for our office has been a huge benefit for all the people that have bought properties from him. He's a great guy. And Larry can definitely understand this because he did work there for a very, very long time. Our office, we're all just public servants. I'm an elected official, and the few hundred people that work there are all public servants. Our goal and our job under the law is to help people and provide information. And I always tell everybody, use us as a resource. There's so much information that we have on every single property in Broward County. If you're going to change your deed, if you're going to go from an LLC, if you want to if you want to have homestead, portable, it doesn't matter what it is. If you are interested in an issue that affects your property or your client's property, or it's something, if it's information that you need, give us a call. Use us as a resource. Let us just give you information so you can make the best decision for yourself and your client. That's really, I think, the most important thing. And I have to tell you, the realtor community is amazing at that. Every single day, people in the real estate community call us about specific portability issues. You have lawyers that will call us about portability if people get divorced. You have people call us all the time if there are seniors that are entitled to an exemptions, or if they're concerned about the bed bath count or the square footage of a property. You have people call us all the time when they're going to change their deed because they want to know, is that going to lead to a reset in their assessed value, which could cost them more in property taxes. There are all kinds of information and all kinds of issues out there, and please just use us as a resource, because we want to be able to provide information to you so you can make the best financial decision for yourself, and if it's your client, for your client.
Well, I think that is something that's very overlooked sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. As somebody that runs a fairly large office, so somebody that does this on a day-to-day, right? Having the property appraiser as a resource and as a partner, and I think you really should look at it as a partnership, right? Yes. Because a lot of the questions that we get asked sometimes, because I have the experience, I can give a vaguer answer, mm-hmm. but I can't get into the weeds of it, right? Mm-hmm. Because I don't have the current data. Mm-hmm. And I can send them over to you, and they can get the answers that they're looking for. Or I could even call you and ask you, look, Marty, I need this, or whoever it is in your office, can you point me into the right direction? Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this. How can all of our listeners get a hold of the Broward County Property Appraiser's Office?
Such a great question. There are a few ways. The easiest way to get a hold of me specifically is to email me. All day, every day, I answer my emails. As soon as I get to my office, I'm going to answer my emails. I'll wake up at 3 in the morning. I'll answer an email. I always answer emails. And so if you get an email from me, it's from me. And I love that. And the reason being is because what I've found is that, when somebody has an issue with a property, they're not the only one with that specific issue. Other people are also going through that as well. And if I can figure out how to help that person or give them good information, I can also help a lot more people too. And so the best way is to email me, and my email is martykiar@bcpa.net. That's MARTYKIAR@bcpa.net. You can also go to our website at bcpa.net or web.bcpa.net, and there are all kinds of phone numbers on there for every department that we have, so you can go to the right department. And by the way, if you call our office, and Larry knows this, you'll never talk to a machine, you'll always talk to a live person. Mm-hmm. What'll happen is it'll first ring to our customer service department. If they're busy and they can't pick up, we'll then go to another department. So you're always going to talk to somebody, and we'll always get right back to you if you email somebody in our department. But that's the easiest way to find us. Go on our website at bcpa.net. You can email us, you can email me, and you can call us, and we're happy to help and answer any questions that you all have.
So, it's funny because when I worked there, I only saw the customer service side from that side of the desk, right? When I left and I went to the private side, I appreciated it so much more.
Oh, thank you.
Because the questions that I had got answered when we had disputes, or if we had questions on anything, they got answered right away. Listen, shout out to Bill Behringer,
he's
that
fantastic.
has always been there to support and carry things through. So he's helped me a lot over the years. So just shout out to him and your entire team. Alona, Pam, Scott, the whole team really does a phenomenal job at what they do, and you've found a way to really put the right people in the right places.
Thank you.
To have an exceptional operation. Marty, thank you so much for having come today and making sure that you tell everybody about Owner Alert. I really appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Larry. And I forgot to mention one thing. May I?
Yeah,
one more
go
thing?
ahead.
The one thing I forgot to mention was it's August, and August is truth and millage notice time, trim time. So just to let you know, every single property owner in Broward County is about to get a document from us in the mail over the next couple weeks. It's your trim notice. It's not a tax bill. It's basically a document so you can make sure you don't overly pay in your property taxes. It'll show the value of your property for tax purposes, all the tax saving exemptions you're getting, the dates and times your local government's going to be discussing their tax rates, and the proposed amount of property taxes you're going to be asked to pay this year. If you have any concern with the value of your property, you're not getting every tax saving exemption you're entitled to, just call me by September 17th of this year and we can work on it together. And if we still disagree, you can file a petition with the Value Adjustment Board, and the Value Adjustment Board just determined that there's not going to be any filing fee this year. So it's actually free to the public to file a petition with the Value Adjustment Board, and that gives our office the opportunity to actually work on that property after September 17th. With that said, Larry, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for the great work that you do, that your colleagues do. Love the realtors, love the realtor community, and please call me anytime. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Marty.
Oh, Larry, you're awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Miami Association of Realtors official podcast channel. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and please rate and review us. Until the next time.